New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg, and friend of the show. I got to go to the board.
Confirmed. Well, this is a beyond friend of the show. Real life friend of the show.
Yeah. And wrestling compadre, like friend on multiple levels.
Yes, right.
Smoke DZA.
Not for sale is out.
Yes, not for sale. And Smoke DZA, you, sir, are someone who, for the audience, if you haven't listened to Smoke DZA, you represent New York very well.
Thank you.
To the hip-hop diaspora around the world.
Very great word, diaspora.
You know, all of the corners of the globe, because you bought them bars.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I came from the golden era. Like, that's the era I grew up in, the 90s. I hate to say it like that and sound like an old nigga for old kids.
Listen, I grew up on the 90s.
I think the fact that we have a elder statesmen and OGs in this game that are still productive helps the younger generation plan out their career a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do everything that everyone else is doing to have a sustained creative career.
I agree.
Do you agree with Rosenberg saying that we're living in a golden era right now?
We are. It's the new golden era. The new baby.
I think we need a new name. The new golden era just doesn't really feel like. Since there was already a golden era, we need a.
That is true. We will need to come up. Like, there's like a baby boomer. Like, there's always like a different thing.
Yeah, you got to have a new thing. It can't just be part deux.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, they're golden for different reasons. Because the 90s was golden era because it was sound-wise. It just, hip-hop had gotten to a place of development where, like, early 80s was dope, super simple. Late 80s, they started getting better. And by the 90s, it was like, oh, okay, this is a genre. This is what people do. Yeah, and so now.
But it was also diversity.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had mainstream.
Yeah.
You had underground, right?
Of
You
course.
had different.
Although in the early 90s, it was still kind of all
underground.
There was the records that came out that blew up, like whack pop records.
Yeah, but that's the same now.
But now, to me, what feels so good about it is like there's just so much room for so many people to grow. And on my Complex show, me and Miss Info argued about this. Miss Info was like, well, she sees that more as a technology golden era than a music golden era. But to me, they work together. And it allows someone like Smokey to thrive. Whereas maybe in another era, there wouldn't have been as much room. Like you wouldn't have, I haven't had a hit radio record yet, so what do I do? Now you're able to find your audience and continue to serve that audience.
Thanks to the internet. But sometimes I wish that I was around in the golden era just because they cater to different kind of things that like I cater to now. So it's kind of hard. Like I always say, I'm in an era where the bad is good and the good is bad. So I feel like I'm whack sometimes with all the whack music. So I'm like, all right, I'm super whack because they definitely don't get this. It's way over their head.
Well, I also think that the internet can confuse you, right? Because those that are active on the internet and vocal on the internet, generally speaking, seem to like the cheaper versions of the music, right? They just go after it's quick, it's fast
Microwave,
food.
the synthetic
Yeah, it's
shit.
the fast food stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not the stuff that will be seen later on as quality contributions to the culture. I also think that too. Back to the technology conversation. Would you say that SoundCloud, YouTube, and technology and the access to direct access to fans kind of replaced what college radio was back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah, to a certain extent, but honestly, this is more reach because you have to do more work with this to make it find its audience. But like, there's college radio that reached a really narrow audience.
But there was a lot of them.
That's true, all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a mixed bag, but I just think it ends up working out well if you're an artist who's a little different than what is commercial. You could still do really well. Like Smokey, you stayed doing shows.
Yeah, but that attributes to my social network and all that. Like, you got to have more than just rapping in this era. Like, you got to be a little more personable to the people to make.
What do you do?
What's
your plan? What do you deliver to the people besides just rap?
Well, I'm just myself. Like, I don't really try to force it. Like, stay humble, stay happy. Like, give everybody their moment. Even if I'm annoyed, like, somebody will run down on me and I still give them their moment. And I think that, that takes my shit a little further because it's like, all right, you know what? I didn't really listen to him like that, but he's a cool guy. Let me go check him out.
Right.
And then once they check me out, I reel them in. So that's like my little spiel.
No, that
You're
makes sense.
kind of talking like you come off controversial. Are there people who see you as polarizing?
Yeah, I mean, people see me as a weed rapper sometimes. Sometimes people might just see my name and write me off. Like, oh, Smoke DZA, Wu-Tang, weed guy. So, I mean, they don't really like...
And it's like, well, I'm not Wu-Tang.
And I'm not just the weed guy.
And you're not just the weed guy.
Right, but I feel like your fan base also looks for you, though, specifically for what you bring to the table. That's why you have not for sale. Because,
exactly.
You know what I mean? You don't go for the trends or whatever's hot or popping at the time. You don't need a collaboration from XYZ just because it's the hottest
But he
world
does
star
have some
rapper.
good collaborations on that Not For Sale.
Yes.
Well, look,
He doesn't need it. First of all, guess what? He's got it.
First of all, your last album was an amazing collaboration overall because it was with Pete Rock, and then had artists on there on the other side.
Yeah.
On this project, Not For Sale, who are some of the artists that are on here?
Joey Badass, Ty Dolla $ign.
I mean, listen.
Drum,
Talk
Velas,
about it.
Dom Kennedy.
I mean, it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Vado, the list goes on.
Harlem.
Bodega Bamz. Shout out to Bodega Bamz. We're also hitting tour, too. We're going on tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, May 21st to July 1st.
Wow.
The Money in the Bank tour. Me and Bodega
nice.
Bamz co-headline. So
That's pretty dope.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
gonna be
you,
good.
Bodega Bamz, and who else?
Jay Grams, young Jay Grams from Baltimore. But it's co-headline with me and Bams, and we got a pretty interesting history.
I was going to say, there was a time when I recall sort of having to be like, hey, let me kind of broker a little bit of peace between you guys.
Wait, you had beef?
That's my little brother in real life. So we really fight in real life. We've been
you
fighting
ever-
on
each
some
other
on some Harlem.
on some
We
big
came up
brother,
together,
little
yeah,
brother,
yeah.
fighting since we was 14 type shit, and then
And then it got a little real for a
it
while.
trickled into rap, where it's like he started to plant his feet and find his way. And I really was like, I'm like, all right, I always wanted him to do his thing, but like, you do your thing. And he wasn't with that at first. And it was like, they took it really hard. And it was a lot of motivation for them, I feel
Wait,
like.
when
Like,
you
they'll
say
tell
do
that.
your thing, meaning do your thing, just not with me,
Right.
and that hurt his feelings.
And that hurt his feelings.
Well, you
and
were
he
why?
wasn't
Well,
fucking
why
with
did
that.
you want to distance yourself?
Because he's a leader. He's a born leader. And he needs to lead his own shit.
Got it.
And
Tambo
I
is
didn't
what she does.
Exactly, and I feel like that's what birthed the whole. All right, we got to do this. Fuck everybody. It's just us. And growing up, I always seen him as that. I never seen him under me. I always seen him like my peer, somebody next to me. So I kind of had to force the issue and push the envelope a little bit. And they hated me for a while, and made records. And I was pissed, and you was mediating the whole situation like everything else, because you always seem to be the mediator for me when it comes into something. It's
Oh, yeah,
like,
you know what I have for you,
Smokey, talk to Wale. This isn't cool. Please, you guys are so.
Wait, you
You
had
know
a problem
Wale?
with Wale too?
Yeah.
And that's one of my best friends now. It's so crazy how like.
Well, y'all bond over wrestling, I'm sure.
Yes, and that's where it started. 'Cause
Wait,
you know-
y'all had beef over wrestling?
Yes.
The wrestling rappers.
The wrestling
Yup.
rap, where it was like, I did this first, you're
Yo,
biting.
chill out,
And he's like, Wale is very passionate about
Very
his shit.
passionate.
And we had
And he was like, you just didn't know that I've been on this.
right. And we had words, and then we started getting cool, and then now
I
we're,
gave
like,
somebody
super
somebody's
cool.
number. I was like, you guys both love all this stuff.
We need
This
a
is
Wale
crazy.
convo. Where's Wale?
It's about time for him to be
We
back.
need Wale. He put out some music. We need to have him
And
up
it
here.
feels
I was
like he's
just
about
texting
to-
him over the weekend
It's
with all this
complicated.
Kanye stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had a back and forth text. How do you feel about? Let's do a couple things first. Smoke DZA, how do you feel about J. Cole's 1985 song? Have you heard the album?
No.
Okay, so
I didn't
then-
get to indulge in it yet. But
Have
I
you
will.
seen the whole
I've
Lil
seen
Young
that.
face tat
Yeah.
blowback backlash that J. Cole is getting?
Once I heard the title, I knew that was gonna come, because those kind of kids, they're not really they're not happy when people start going
Critique them and criticize their pill poppage and.
Although it's not good, I agree with Cole. I think it's all fuckery, and
But
it's
what do you
not
say
really
to the
cool
people
kill
who are like,
yourself.
look, we have mental health issues and we're emotionally disturbed and we're self-medicating and we want to
Do
be
they really
heard.
say
See a
that?
therapist.
There are people, individuals who say this.
I don't think any of them have that cogent of thought. It's more like,
They need to go find
come
a
on,
therapist,
bruh.
man.
Chill out, old motherfucker. We do what we do.
I mean, I'm not with that shit, man. I hate it. You know, like I lost friends off drug addiction, so it's never an easy pill to swallow. No pun intended. No pun intended.
But no, it's true.
It's stupid.
By the way, you can love
a
lot of the new artists, and not like some of them, but like other ones, and you can also like them and be like, hey, but yeah, they need to chill with the pills, and you don't necessarily all need to run out and get face tattoos to be accepted as part of this thing. Like that's what, like you said it on Twitter really well. J. Cole wasn't dissing them. He was helping them.
Literally.
It was a little bit harsh, but he was being like, yo, he was OGing him. And guess what he is now? He's an OG. You liken it to your daughter.
I like your funky little rap name.
I like it. He says that.
That's what he said?
He goes, I like your funky little rap names.
He was like, I'm proud you moved out your mama's house. Hopefully one day you could buy your mama house.
Yeah. He's OGing him. That's
and
what
he started, and on the song, he talks about how, look, when one day your audience is gonna grow up.
One day they're gonna
and the things that got you popular with them won't be cool no more. And what you gonna be talking about? And thinking that that's a diss is like saying, I said this on Twitter, that's like saying I dissed my daughter when I told her it was bedtime. You know what I'm saying? Because it's good for her health to get some sleep.
Because there's a lot of simple, emotional people out here that don't get the message, and they're not trying to get the message either. And I think that's another problem.
Well, I think also you're a parent. You're a dad.
Yeah.
Yes? So I think it is important for us as people who are adults to understand that when you talk to someone who is, in their mind, living their best life, right? Having a great time, partying every day, getting money, getting girls or guys, traveling around the world, and you tell them that there's something wrong with what they're doing, it's the equivalent of having a child and they're outside having fun with their friends, and you're like, that's enough. You need to go take a bath, eat some food, and go to sleep, and let's start again tomorrow because it's good for your health to do it that way. Mm-hmm. Your kid isn't happy either.
But
when you tell your kids they can't hang around certain people, you're ruining my life. It's the same thing. Like as an adult, you go, you're supposed to not be happy with what I'm saying.
Well, the sunny part is, though, it's asserting, J. Cole is putting himself and saying, yes, I'm in a position to say that. So there has always been some resistance there in the culture when someone says, this is who I am, this is who you are, right? And I get why there's some like, hey, you don't tell us what to do.
I'm not your son.
I'm not your son. I get that. But I think it was a necessary message. Some will receive it, some will be mad.
Yeah, I mean, I got a 14-year-old, and I'm on his head every single day. He just turned 14.
What's he listening to?
He's listening to all the shit that I hate.
Really?
Because you hate it?
No, because I asked him why. I'm like, why do you listen to this? And he's like, because my friends listen to it. And I'm like, bad answer. You want to be a leader or a follower? So I'm kind of like trying to like wire his mind.
Plant the
seed into listening to the cool shit. But it's going to take some time. I mean, he listened to some cool, like A Boogie. Shout out to A Boogie. That's cool to me. But like the other shit, the screaming, I don't like it in my house.
The screaming. That would be Tekashi69.
I don't like it
screaming,
in my house.
I don't like it in my house.
He's not saying what it is. He's just saying isn't he
that's the
screaming
only person
in
I
his house.
know screaming right
No,
now.
it's a bunch of screamers.
Yeah, it's a screaming genre.
Who else?
Tekashi, I ain't really mad at him. He doing what he supposed to do.
What does that mean?
Being a troll. He's
being
trolling.
a troll.
Pro troll. Not even a rapper anymore. Pro troll.
And it starts the conversation. So it's like, we're talking about him, so he's doing it right.
We're talking about him, so he's doing it right.
That's all.
You know what's interesting in that though is the same issue I have with Kanye West.
Yep. That's all Kanye is doing too.
Well, no, because in your talking, in your troll, you're playing with things that get people killed. So then I have a problem with you, right? Because you're playing with gang shit. People die. That's real death. Kanye, you're playing with people who speak down upon Black Lives Matter and stand next to white supremacy and, and endorse white supremacy and things like that.
His shit is deep.
People get killed. But in both scenarios, we are tampering with things and thinking just because we're trolling and getting marketing for our projects and getting our name out, that it's okay.
Yeah, like trolling should be, Smokey, you'll appreciate this. Trolling should be jumping on Twitter and being like, Shawn Michaels isn't a top 5 wrestler. That's trolling. It's harmless. It's for a debate. There's no real downside.
Right. And should we dismiss things and say it's okay just because, it's trolling?
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool. Like,
to Ebro's point, though,
really
both
think so.
Tekashi and Kanye, they get involved in these things that are like, I'm not playing with you with that.
See, now, Ye, I can't really speak on Ye because I don't know what's going on. But Tekashi is like, all right, we all from New York. Tekashi is from New York as well. Gang culture in New York has never really been gang culture in New York. New York is built off fashion and hip-hop. West Coast is based off gang culture. He doesn't understand that because he's from New York. So all of this, and he's young. So it's like, unless you got an OG that's pulling his coat, that's like, nah, you're not supposed to do that.
No, he's got people around him that are making money off of his behavior, who are also involved in gang culture here
From
in New
New
York
York.
City, right? And because there is some, but that's just not what New York's always.
That's not what we based on. So they don't, they just trying to play the game. God bless him. I hope it all works out for him in the long run. I don't agree with it, but like I said, we talking about him, so I guess he's doing the right thing.
I don't know. I'm not for it.
I'm not for it neither, but this is
It is
a lot
what
of
it
shit
is.
I'm not for.
You want to run down a list right now? Just
mean,
not for sales out. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get
No, I
see
mean,
now this is trolling. What
is
else are you
trolling.
not for? Because not for sale.
Not for sale. Exactly.
What else are you not for?
I'm not for drugs. I don't consider weed a drug. That's one. Because
Right,
people will be
facts.
like, you're not for drugs, but you're the big weed guy. No, weed is not a drug. Weed is a plant.
I mean,
I wish I can give my mother this weed right now. 'cause
It's
she
medicine.
she has cancer.
It's
and
medicine.
the weed could work for her.
It's
listen,
medicine.
So that's
cancer.
cool.
My mom had breast cancer,
Same.
and now my mom was she thought marijuana was like heroin. Okay, at one
Same.
point. And now, after it took me a while to give her some articles, talk to her about it, and she's been taking edibles here and there, and it helps her with her appetite. It helps her with her
those
recovery.
articles, Laura, because I'm trying to sell my mom right now. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
it's
They're
sneak it into
everywhere.
her
It's not-
tab.
it's not
and by the
easy.
way, even CBD.
Yeah.
Which
CBD,
doesn't
I'm
have
trying
the
to sneak into her
THC in,
tea
but
and all
helps
that.
people with their appetite, helps people with, nervous issues and sleep issues and other things. I will say this, though. Those opioids are heroin, though. And those pills that the pharmaceutical drugs are given are the equivalent of heroin. So
Promethazine,
for your
liquid
mom or
heroin.
moms out there that think weed is heroin, no.
Yeah.
Those Percocets and painkillers and Vicodins are literally heroin, a Jace.
Pretty
Literally.
Yeah, it's true.
Literally. And those are okay to get people addicted on. What else are you not for?
I'm not for bad rap.
Define
I
that
hate
in
it.
your
Bad
terms.
rap is rap that makes no sense at all. Just a bunch of words and sounds, and I hate it. I guess it serves a purpose for people that's not really trying
It's
to
a
learn.
vibe, though. It's a wave. It's a vibe.
I hate that too.
It's a vibe. Man. It's a wave.
I'm not for the vibe that doesn't make any sense. So that's a few things I'm not for, and I'm not for sale.
And what does that
I'm-
mean,
I'm
though?
an
Because your album
unrestricted
is
free
for
agent.
sale.
That
though.
is
My
true.
album is for sale, but my artistic integrity isn't. So,
And you've
Not for
strung it
sale.
together now, man. How many? It's a lot of good albums you have.
I think it's one album every year since 2011.
Is that what it is?
Ooh,
So it feels like you
okay,
already
Broski.
feels like you did some
That's
research.
Very true.
I did.
Feels like you already did another
I ran a
interview.
Google. I ran a Google.
So 11,
I'm
12.
good for a Google. before
Yeah,
an interview.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 8 albums. That includes the Fraud albums. That includes the Pete Rock album. Are we going to get another Don't Smoke Rock?
Yeah, part 2. Actually, Pete was with us in Seattle. He popped up on the stage randomly. I turned to the side and I seen him holding his phone because Pete is an Instagram master.
Yeah.
So
Master or fiend? Well,
I say
he loves
master.
Instagram.
I say both.
All right.
But yeah, part 2, we definitely coming with that. I want to drop it before the year's over, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
What do you say to people? Because there's been a conversation. Speaking of Pete Rock, I saw him post this. Russ, the artist Russ, said that producers are to blame because the music is whack. Not. It doesn't just fall on the rappers.
I love Russ.
Because there could be great rap, and if the music is trash, the music is trash. What do you say?
Again, I love Russ, but I don't really understand the message. I think he articulated it wrong.
What was the message?
He said that the
Producers
bad
are whack.
music in hip hop, the producers are to blame. I could show up with a great rap, But if the beats being made are whack, and I only got whack shit to choose from,
that is a terrible and inaccurate statement.
I think he articulated it wrong.
Well, because what he articulated is not true. In fact, I would argue that among some of the rap that some people don't like, there's actually really dope beats in
the
there.
Beats
that
are the
fire.
thing that's keeping it abroad.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of young mumble rap, if you will. That's why a lot of it's hot, is because the beats are actually dope. It's what do you want to do with it? Maybe he didn't mean it that way, because that doesn't make sense.
I think he meant to say the beats that the artists pick. They probably shouldn't pick those beats.
Let's
Maybe.
have a listen. I will go to Pete Rock's page. That's where I saw
if you could find it, because
he might have posted 100 times
100 things
times
since
after
then,
that.
for sure. But at the real Pete Rock.
We've had Pete Rock up here, too. Pete Rock says some things that I don't always agree with, too. Pete can
Here we
be
go. Hang
aggressive on the old fogey side.
Whack songs. So people think that, like, you blame the rappers for the state of hip-hop. Rappers are not making the music. You gotta blame the producers. Producers are making whack shit. If all I do is rap, I'm a vocalist, and a producer sends me a pack of 20 beats and they're all whack and they all sound the same, I'm just fucked. I gotta pick the best of the worst. It's not the rapper's fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen to the beats. Because look who is holding down hip-hop. Dre, Scott Storch, Timbaland, Pharrell, Just Blaze, Swiss Beats. There were so many dope, like, making dope, real fucking hip-hop shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, real dope music shit. And, like, they kind of just fell back, you know what I'm saying, for, like, their own reasons. And those are legends. But, like, you know what I'm saying, I don't see hella just Dre beats surfing around or Kanye beats.
They never were. What are you talking about? No one had access to those back then.
Like, fell back. That's why you...
Why should we blame producers instead of rappers?
Russ is a great rapper, but that did not make sense.
That didn't
Now,
make any
Pete Rock
sense.
said he approves that message.
Because
Well,
Pete,
Pete-
I'm gonna tell you why Pete approved the message.
Okay.
Because Pete is a producer, and Pete thinks a lot of producers are whack.
Okay.
And he's right. A
And
lot
he's
are
right.
whack.
But then for us, like if a producer sent me 20 beats of the same shit,
And
guess
they're-
what? I'm
and-
not using any. of it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna find.
He acted
what
like
I
at the
wanna
end, you're
find.
like, well,
You
I
don't
have to choose
use them.
one. Who told you
Yeah,
that?
you don't have to use them. You know, it's a lot of producers out here that make dope shit still. You just gotta dig until you find what fits you, and then you
There are a
make it what you
lot of
make it.
people. There are a lot of people making with endless supplies of great beats. So that's why I don't agree with the sentiment.
that probably never had a platinum record before too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
There are
it's a lot
plenty of people.
producers.
Wasn't Nicki Minaj? Didn't she just say out loud that she picked producers, this Chun-Li record and this Barbie Things, or one of the records she releases, like an unknown producer that she went and found?
Yeah, and she signed him to her label or to her or
She's
something
smart.
to her camp because it's brand new and she loved his work.
But there's so many though.
New energy. She's smart. So I mean, for one of my projects, I went on YouTube just for the shits and giggles, and I put Smoke DZA type beat, and I used it, and two of them, and I hit them up, and it made their day. But the shit was actually dope. It was actually something that I would rap off. So
That's
it really
dope.
was a Smoke DZA type beat.
Right, they
Yeah,
had you
yeah,
in mind. They had you in mind.
me
They
in
posted
mind.
on
That's
YouTube,
dope.
and you're like,
Exactly.
"This is great."
Yo,
So-
after this interview, that's about to be the move. People at producers just gonna start throwing shit up. With
No, they've been
people's
doing
names in
that.
it.
They've been
Oh,
doing that. Yeah, if
really?
you
I
type in
didn't know that.
anyone type beat.
I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, they're not dumb.
Then again, I'm not rapping or looking for beats.
Right.
So why would I know that?
Well, you know that.
You could do Ebro type beat. It's just dead air.
It's
We're
nothing.
waiting for you to talk.
It's fuck you. Smoke DZA not for sale. Pick up the album everywhere. Love you, bro.